Hey everyone, welcome to the SIG Node meeting on January 27th, 2026. We have a handful of discussion items around caps for the 136 cycle. I'm afraid I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. Shri Kalan. Is this person here to talk about memory manager, huge pages, availability verification? Maybe this is just a request to review it. So maybe we'll do that asynchronously. Okay.
Peter, are you sharing your screen? Because I don't see something.
I am not, but I can. So I was just looking at the,
Thank you.
the discussion. So I don't know if anyone's here for this item, but
I reviewed the proposal. I did a quick pass, and there are open points to according to my review, but I cannot comment on behalf of this person. So yeah, I just want to say that I'm generally in favor of the for myself of this cap, but there are open points worth discussing with the broader community. That's my own take.
great. So yeah, maybe we can just talk on the cap, and feel free to tag anyone in who you think could have some relevant opinions. Okay, cool. Next up, we have the writable C group. I know Chris has historically taken this one, and I think but it was added by someone new.
Yeah, I mainly just have questions and or wanted to bring up questions that I think are important, but just as much I'm trying to understand exactly what's happening with this cap and what's going on. I'm primarily SIG auth contributor. SIG auth owns the pod security standards, so mainly I'm interested in that. But before I can really assess that, I just need to fully understand the what's and the whys, what's going on here. Um, um, and you'll see the first question I have is what happens. So you've got your, deployment set up, and it schedules a bunch of pods that are then set to go on a node, and on that deployment, the pod template has writable C groups. Say there are 5 nodes available, 3 have C group v2 running, 2 have C group v1 running. Because of the security implications of C group v1, I think would be inadvisable to allow writable C groups on v1 nodes at all. And I believe that's been recognized in the KEP itself. But given that there is kind of this mixture of circumstances, it's kind of unclear when this process fails and how it fails exactly. And this is a question I don't know the answer to. Like, does the scheduler have awareness of what the C group version is running on the nodes? And if so, could it fail during the scheduling process? But how is that resolved, I guess? Because it would seem that these pods can really only be scheduled on a node with C group v2.
Yeah. So thank you for the detailed review. I think this is an area of the KEP that definitely needs to be explored more. I would say if the C group version is a dimension that we can schedule on, then we should obviously only schedule this on nodes with C group v2. And I would imagine if no nodes are available with C group v2, then the pod would probably fail during scheduling. Sorry, Peter, I saw your hand raised. My bad for cutting you off.
Yeah, so I would say there's two sort of idiomatic approaches here. One of them is inspired by what we learned with user namespaces. Like, I would really recommend So number one, I don't think the kubelet is currently exposing whether or not the node is V1 or V2. And so I don't think the scheduler currently has this information. So the first thing I would recommend is in this KEP, have the kubelet deny pods at admission if it gets a pod that has this field and the node is on V1. That like making sure the denial happens rather than for most features, you would like ignore it. But for security related features, we need to do the denial so that the API server can trust that if it is a pod that if this field is set on the pod and it gets scheduled to a node that isn't able to like safely handle it, then the pod does not get created and gets the feedback about that. The second thing I would recommend is this node declared features new feature. This could be a way we could expose this. So the kubelet can be taught basically how to relate this feature gate to what it is able to support on the node, and it could expose that information through this. So I recommend doing that as well. But I would also recommend having the fail safe of having the kubelet deny the pod if it is not able to handle it. Don.
Yes, Peter, thanks for the node declare feature. Yeah, that could be exposed the information to the up layer. But I think it's not necessary. We want to reject the pod, right? So could be also Kubernetes can admit but disable that readable C groups. If we don't have the node declare pod, right? So at least because in the situation, if schedule don't take those into a consideration and they keep schedule, and so I think the node knows that it's C group 1 and the C group 2, right? So the work node and who want to leverage for this sub-C group feature or readable C group feature, that's most for better accounting and reliability enhancement, all those kind of things, or like the better to using those resource, signed resource. So for those kind of things, actually, I think application level should be handled that complexity. And we just, when we accept that, admit that part, and just give a warning and say, okay, accept it, and then the readable SQL is disabled on those nodes, SQL v1 node, and they should handle those kind of problems. Anyway, this is a new feature. So I think we need to have that requirement as early as possible.
Yes, I just wonder how would the warning surface, and in the possibly rare case where all the nodes are C group V1, then you have a situation where it fails, kind of not silently does the wrong thing, but does the wrong thing with warning. And by the wrong thing, I mean it goes against what the user is expecting. And so it's just a matter of like, how visible is that warning and where is it visible?
So each pod status could have this certain
hot status.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we should probably do some deeper discussion on the KEP. I think the one case where we might want to reject rather than silently ignore is if there's a case where we want to like relax PSA field in the case where this field is being used. I don't know if that's the case, and we can sort of talk about it. But if there's like a case where like, oh, if you have a writable C group, then like it's totally safe to like set this other pod spec field, and the pod security admission at baseline level would like allow for that. And if that's the case, then like we want to make sure that the kubelet is enforcing that field is present rather than relaxing. But I actually can't think of a case where we would relax it for that, so it might be okay to just ignore. But this was something that bit us in user namespaces, so I just want to be aware of any of the possible integrations with PSA. But maybe we iterate on that a little bit in the KEP.
So I do want to be mindful of the time if there are other topics to discuss before you get to because I can always bring up the remainder here at the next meeting if the time is needed.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Let's maybe punt the rest of the conversation to the end of this meeting, and if we have extra time, then we can get to it. But yeah, thank you for.
Yeah. Also, Peter, we can also sync offline if you want to.
Yeah, maybe we should just.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
put together a meeting and we can just meet or we can chat on Slack or something.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you both. Okay, so next up we have just an announcement. I think this meeting is a little late for Wendy, but an announcement about the Wranglers. We've chosen the Wranglers. And so we have our Slack channel for the SIG Node Wranglers. Feel free to reach out to that if you have any questions. And we have this deadline coming up the 4th of February. So make sure to have your PR updates or KEP updates at least implemented so that PRR team has some time to actually look at them. Yeah. So, and the Wranglers will help sort of keep track of those as well. All right, next up we have this one. Charles, are you here?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to propose a potential new feature that not builds upon, but is kind of similar to the static CPU manager policy option that we introduced, where containers will get aligned to the uncore cache of the CPUs. What I'm trying to introduce is another feature that does something of the similar effect, but without the static policy. And the main purpose or driver behind that is node utilization. So in the cases where, an application, a container needs to be cache aligned, the current solution fully dedicates those cores to that application. And these applications see highs and lows in their utilization. So during the load periods, those cores can't be freed up for other workloads, which ultimately results in inefficient use of the CPUs. So what I'm trying to introduce is a way to essentially intelligently write the CPU subsets when the C groups get created for burstable pods, which will essentially allow that cache alignment and that optimization, and then also have that ability to essentially scale the CPUs and free them for other workloads. So this is a very early introduction, but I just wanted to kind of get some feedback and some opinions on if this is feasible to be introduced.
Sasha, go ahead.
Sasha?
So I already wrote in the meeting minutes a couple of my feedbacks, but in short, so what you are trying to propose, we will end up with multiple shared pools, and when the applications will be bound to those multiple shared pools. So practically, you will be re-implementing what was implemented in the NRI in topology-aware policy. So it's not that simple, just like few C groups, it's full balancing mechanism. But that one side of the story. Second side of the story, if we are talking about burstable applications which are not statically bound to something, there is a new development in the Linux kernel. So, like finally, the patches what I was talking with kernel guys for several years were upstream. So the kernel by itself nowadays started to balance on the cache groups. So you don't need to interfere with kernel to do its job. So the kernel will try to minimize migration of the tasks for the processes which are not statically bound. And that works reliably both on Intel and AMD hardware. So it's not only one particular cache layout, it's scalable for different cache layouts. So in short, if it's not static allocation, if it's not static algorithm, let the kernel do its own work. And details are in those two links what I added to the document.
Yeah, I know. I need to get back and reconnect with the kernel team over here. But my understanding is from customers, they're a little they're more willing to upgrade their Kubernetes version versus the kernel. So that's kind of something I'm trying to tackle as well. But
But
yeah, I need to get with the kernel team as well because I know there were some limitations in their implementation, and I didn't think it was upstreamed yet either. Um, but yeah, feedback noted. Yes, that definitely is another avenue to investigate.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't fully followed the DRA CPU driver conversations, but what I am wondering is, are we going to maybe encourage more like feature development in the CPU manager into the CPU DRA driver, or do we still want to continue supporting new policies like natively in Kubernetes?
yeah, but that was exactly my point. So like if you need to have custom, it's already there are ways to implement it different way. We don't need to touch the kubelet and this old piece of code.
But wait a minute. But we still want to understand where it came from, right? The motivation and what problem they try to solve. But I agree with Sosa and Kevin suggested. Right now, there's the other mechanism, CRI, the DRI CPU driver way to do your customization, how to manage those kind of things instead to build into Kubernetes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I'm kind of working off of some of the customer feedback from my end as well. There's been a lot of resistance to kind of adopt these newer tools and plugins. I think it's just the hesitation to add some complexities to their workloads. I think the other component, which is a little unrelated to this group, but the other thing is a lot of customers are utilizing OpenShift as well. So we're kind of blocked without OpenShift supporting the DRA or the NRI. So that's a little bit of the transparent motivation as well, trying to introduce it into the kubelet itself.
NRI-based solutions, like if you have OpenShift, which is not older than 2 years, it should work. For
Oh
DRA,
yeah,
yes.
no, it definitely works in my own testing. I think it's just the support aspect, unfortunately. And that's probably a separate discussion entirely, um, um, away from uh, this this group.
Yeah, I agree that that's a separate discussion. I think, yeah, so I think we got some feedback here. Satiris, do you have a note? I'm hoping to get the
Yeah,
last item.
yeah, I think I want to highlight a little bit here that the CPU manager is being used explicitly in a lot of industries. So I see what it was mentioned about the DRA, and we all know that it cannot work with the CPU manager. But if the community already has decided that the CPU manager will be abandoned, and we are not planning to innovate on that and fully go for the DRA, I think it would be fair for the community to explicitly state that. I mean, listening this in the SIG node, for me, it is important to highlight because it's being used heavily in a big industry. It is a node code, it's a stable code, and I just wanted to mention this.
We didn't make decision abundant. We know we are not. Current is a hybrid mode, and it's just new advanced auto feature goes to current, especially for HPC workloads support and AI machine learning workload. We goes to the CIA, the DRA CPU driver at this moment. But even we are still ongoing discussing how to consolidate those things. But definitely it's not abandoned at this moment. And if we made any decision, we are going to talk here. And also, if we attempt to make any of those decisions, we are going to talk to here and announce at the community first, and got feedback and then make decisions. So we are not.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. It's just we didn't like this use. This is why we want. At least I personally want to know what's the motivation why we want to do those kind of things, right? But not all the enhancement for CPU management need goes to Kubernetes as the CPU management. Even like for the HPC and also AI, the machine learning workload, why we goes to the DRA? The reason is just because that's iterate faster, and because outside iterate so fast. So then we want to go through that way and iterate and then deliver things to the user with those workloads. But this particular use cases is more customization. It's not advanced feature, of course, right? But it's more customization for their production. So we also don't want to, because maybe we don't want to, unless there's the huge use cases, we don't want to pollute of the built-in CPU management, right? Because the CPU management already is overcomplicated. And so we need to carefully. So there are certain things maybe at the edge use cases we need to go to the driver plug-in mode. Yeah.
Great. So I think it's a good discussion. Maybe we leave that there and then discuss more maybe on this doc or somewhere upstream or on Slack or something like that. But thank you, Charles, for bringing it up. Next up, we have Ayato on the CRI pagination.
Yes. Yeah, I proposed a CRI pagination for a list operations to avoid a gRPC message size limit. And I don't have anything specific to discuss right now, but I created a cap like based on the discussion the last time. So could you please like leave a comment and review? Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Great, thank you. All right, yeah, and we'll get to that asynchronously, and I think maybe this work that we do for kept planning will also help us get to that. So last time we covered the drafts and the triage. So now I want to cover the proposed for considerations. I think probably actually let's go alpha on. We'll try to do like half of the meeting for alpha or half of the remainder for alpha and then the rest for beta and stable, because I think the alpha will be a little bit longer. What I would like to get out of this is to make sure that we have the priority set correctly and ideally find either an approver to take it on or a reviewer with someone to be up for the approver eventually. So if any approvers can volunteer as we go through, that would be helpful. Hopefully we can streamline this. Also, as a note, Sergey posted a recent update to the way that we do approval for KEPs, which like loosens the approver requirement for beta and stable a little bit from a tech lead to someone a tech lead can delegate to. So if you feel like you're an approver in a certain area and you might be able to do that approval, we now have like kind of a more official process for that delegation. But alpha features, we want to have a tech lead opt into. Okay, so starting off with in-place pod resources alongside static CPU. This one we deemed to be high, I think last week. And so does anyone want to be an approver for this one?
I can be the approver for this one. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to be running through these as quick as possible, but always chime in, or I'll try to keep an eye on the chat if you have any notes or if you want to talk about anything. DRI resource availability visibility, which is a newer one. I think it's just moved out of draft, but did anyone want to be an approver here?
You can add me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mernal. Similar device attributes and downward API.
Sure.
All right.
I'm not sure if it's moving forward. Maybe you need to check with John.
Okay. Okay. I'll check that.
Last release, we decided to go completely different route, so I'm not sure.
Maybe it was in draft and I just moved it. Okay. That's good. Consumable capacity. This one also was in a similar case, right? Were we moving forward with this one? Oh yes, Charlene wanted it.
Consumable is an important one.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone want to act as approver for SIG Node? I think that probably a decent amount of this is SIG scheduling, but
You can add me for the DRA ones.
Default goes to menu.
All right, that's easy. I can do that. All right. At Red Hat, we want this to CRI pagination, I think, is a useful thing to look at, and for node stability and stuff. So I set this to medium, but I would be willing to negotiate down to low priority if maybe there are higher things. But did anyone want to take a look at this one?
Can we delegate?
Since it's alpha, one of you need to sign up. But Peter, do you want to be delegate after?
Yeah, I could be the delegate for this one, and then I'll just need some approver from.
I think this will need a lot of implementation is down to the container D, right? So maybe can we also delegate part of those kind of things, ensure end to end to the SAM? I'm not sure Sam is here today or not.
No, we have a process to involve container D contributors, right? So that will be separate. But
this one particularly, a lot of dependency on container D, right? And I believe CRI, Peter definitely can cover, and the menu can cover. But container D, then Sam is here. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
But Peter,
you put me there too, Peter. Either Sam or I will handle this one.
Great.
I'm already an approver on CRI, so.
Yeah.
And add Christian also to reviewer. He might provide feedback for this particular.
Yes, and I will do that. I always forget how to spell Christian's name. It makes me feel bad. So I'm not going to butcher it, but I will add him.
With a K.
Yeah, but then...
ClickHub.
Sure, I'll do that. Good idea. Sorry, Christian, if you're watching this or you're here. Okay. Great. Thank you, everyone. And do we have an approver tech lead that wants to look at it?
I can't be the one. Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
Okay.
PSI-based node conditions. This one merged as alpha and 134 kept, but actually I'm not sure. Roy moved this to propose reconsideration, which implies to me that we want to update this soon, but I'm actually not, I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, we want to update this in 136.
Great. Thank you. So, approver, anyone? I'm happy to review it. Someone wants to sponsor this, but or we can find someone offline also.
I don't know.
Yeah, you are the approver previously. if that's correct. Yeah. If you don't have time, I can do that. But I remember you approved previous.
These are, I think, splitting them. There was the PSI metrics, which has been reviewed, and this is, I think, a brand new KEP. So I don't exactly know what even, I'm curious to see what the KEP is.
Cool. All right, well, I'll put Mernal primarily, but then Don, you can back up if needed. Pod level resource managers don't have a priority here. I'm feeling
Medium is okay.
great. Thank you. And approver.
Don was the approver last time for the KEP.
Okay, I approver.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, this is, and maybe if you need some people to do a pass beforehand or something.
Oh, the team always doing through. A lot of engineers did a lot of the through. Yeah, team of Claire definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Specialized lifecycle management. A new one out of the Node lifecycle working group. I have been trying to follow this one, but it's kind of a meaty one, so I think could definitely use a decent amount of eyes on it. I mean, it's involving a bunch of different SIGs, but in terms of priority, it's kind of tough. I think it's a high priority for the working group, and the fact that there is a working group kind of increases the priority. But I think as a SIG, it's not, doesn't feel like the highest priority, so I'm not totally sure how to balance those two. Open to a suggestion.
And SIG Node is the lead on this?
Good question. Yeah. I guess I'll set, because of that, I'll set medium, but for Europe.
What is the main scenario for this? Like, what is driving this?
The working group, Node
No,
lifecycle.
Work group. So do you remember a couple weeks ago, there's the report come back, and then instead working on the declarative node, maintenance node, and this we replace this one, specialized lifecycle management, and still is node lifecycle management. So layer down the scope, right? So it is important for. I haven't read this, but in general, node lifecycle management need a lot of the change for those HPC workload and also Gen AI workload. So that's relative. In my mind, it is a higher priority. But today we do have a lot of workaround also works. So that's why it's hard for me to figure out, okay, what's exactly, because we already over committed a lot of work, right? So. Yeah.
Philip?
Yeah, like we try to like bring the size of the cap down, but the API itself like is pretty generic. So, but like we expect this like to be followed on like with additional enhancements, and one of these are should be the one to help also the graceful no shutdown GA graduation. But this is down the road, so like we are still iterating on this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it would be great to make progress on this and unblock other sort of add-ons to be able to move forward, like especially graceful no shutdown. Yeah.
I can sign up for reviewership. I want to know what's happening. So, but what Don said, I don't know, like if we have enough approvership power from TLs to approve it. But let's try to get as close as possible.
Okay, that sounds good, and maybe we can populate the approver closer to if we can get a reviewer to get through it. And I'm happy to review this one as well.
The only thing I wouldn't be able to join meetings at 8 a.m., so I will do everything offline.
Great. Okay, per container ulimits configuration. This has been something that's been requested for a long time, but I actually don't know what use cases is driving this one. So I'm not totally sure what the priority is, but it doesn't feel terribly high to me, but I don't know what use cases it's unblocking. I know that there's
some kernel limitations where it wasn't namespaced. That's what I vaguely remember.
I mean, there are some ulimits that are and some that aren't. And it sort of depends. So I think, and also there are ways like in Cryo and Containerd to like, there's the NRI plugin for ulimits, and there's also Cryo annotation to do this as well. So there are like alternatives, even though they're not really great in terms of being entry or anything.
Because of that, maybe it's low.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that as well.
Yeah, Ubin wants to continue working on that. I mean, it's a requested feature. Like we had some scenarios when we needed to set U limits for some accelerators. Like I don't remember, some memory limits. Some memory management was limited. But I don't know.
I put it in the chat, but that accelerator one is memlock.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, so maybe we'll try to allocate some people. I mean, I would like to take a look to see what the approach is, but
I'd also like to take a look at this one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Maybe we don't need approval for now, since it's no, and also we have 2 strong reviewers here.
Sounds good.
It later, yeah.
All right. Writable C groups for unprivileged containers. This one, we've been doing a lot of talking about, and I have been reviewing it, and I'm open to other people joining as well.
I can approve for this one.
Great, thank you, Don. Would we put this one maybe medium at least?
Yeah, medium.
Great. Sticky bit support for empty dir volumes. This one is alongside with SIG storage, and I would say maybe it's on like the lower end, but I think it would be there's some useful things that get unlocked when we can do this configuration. There's another like enhancement that also we at Red Hat are looking to push forward, including in this one. But I would say it's probably low unless anyone says otherwise. But I also hope it's not going to be a terribly large one.
I think it may be SIG storage driven, right?
I think, yeah, I mean, empty dir volumes are sort of like ambiguously held between the two SIGs. So I think it's kind of both.
Yeah.
Okay, kill configuration. This has been asked for quite a while. Arguable whether it's fully neutering.
I'm all for this, but I just my only question was in the cap, what's the right API for that?
Yeah.
Just, I don't want to get Linux internals into pod API.
Yeah, I mean, we've done quite a lot of that, though. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Do you want to be the reviewer here, and we sort of?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
I've already reviewed a couple times, so I can help you, Sergi.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. But I know it's been asked for a long time, but it is kind of feeling low to me.
Yep, I agree.
Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see a cap up for this one yet.
There is actually it's not put in the right spot in the template, but there is. I think that's what
okay.
This is.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Host network pods to use user namespaces. This was something we tried to do in 135 and did get an implementation for, but I think there's some steps missing. So I think it's workloads. I'm actually not totally sure what the scope is and how big it is, but yeah, just gonna updating. Yeah, there's some runtime handler stuff, but it's actually a pretty small update, it seems. So that's good. But I would probably call it low. I think the use case is kind of narrow. Come on now. But I'm happy to take a look at this one. Okay, reserved for workloads. A DRA, so Mernal.
Sure.
And probably a default medium. I think that there's some debate as to whether this is going to happen, but I think it was asked to be put in, so we'll see.
Yeah, there's a really strong overlap with workload aware scheduling and DRA with this one, so we'll see. I don't know if John's on, but I know there's some discussion about that in that cap, but we'll see.
Okay, so let's go workload controlled swap, which I volunteered to be a reviewer for. Happy to have anyone else join as well. I think Sergey was also a reviewer on this one, right?
I couldn't be.
But it doesn't feel, I don't know how, I mean, I think it's not high.
I think I personally think it's no.
Okay. Yeah.
We are looking for customer feedback. Like we need a lot of feedback to form all the requirements.
Yeah.
So feedback could be, raise the priority, but the current, I think, is no.
That sounds good to me. Eviction request API.
It's medium at least. Yeah. I think.
Don, do you want to be the approver here?
Okay. It's just overloaded right now.
Yeah. No, and we're almost out of the alphas, which we sort of hope a tech lead is the approver, and then
Who's going to be reviewer? We do have the reviewer previous one, but I think we need a more reviewer, right?
Yeah.
So who is the reviewer here?
You can put me.
Yeah, sir.
I can also take a look.
Thanks, Peter. Sergey.
Okay. Evented plague. A nice long-term one. I think it seemed like Bing wanted to put some energy into this one. I'm not totally sure. I probably at this point it would be unlikely to be anything higher than low.
Do we know what exactly, like, is there any KEP review? Because I know I asked there about like PRR for this one.
Yeah, the history is confusing. So I'm actually not totally sure exactly. Oh no, so I think it's just a stage bump. So there's not going to be much KEP update. There'll just be reattempt at the implementation, which I think slipped 135, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, just in case, could you put me on this one too? There was a bunch of to-dos that needed to be filled out.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, Mike. Node resource hot plug. I know this one has been sort of vied for a little while. And I have been reviewing it. I'm not sure if we'll get priority for it, but I mean, I think it would be good to honor the work that people have done here. But I'm not sure how high it is in terms of our overarching priority. Unfortunately. gRPC API with endpoint returning local pod information. I think that this just slipped implementation phase, so maybe a fairly straightforward KEP update.
Yeah, and it was medium before, so I think we can keep medium.
Cool.
Okay.
You can put me as a reviewer.
Okay. I can be approver.
Thank you, Don. And finally, pod checkpoint restore, which I would love to be at least medium. My hope with this one is to do all the things that we would need to do in tree, so then we can be iterating on an API out of tree. So I would love to make some progress on this, but I know it's, I know that there's a lot of different priorities, but I think it would be great to make some progress on this one.
I agree with media. Okay, go ahead.
And I can do the review parts to begin, and then try if I feel like it's in a good spot, I'll try to find any available cycles from approvers.
And is there a cap yet for this one? I saw that the issue was
I
created.
think there's a draft cap on docs. I don't know if it's actually been capified yet.
Okay.
And we need to have issues in containerd and cryo for corresponding approvals.
And SIG off as well.
And we also have the Timo Clare as the reviewer. I didn't see him here today. Yeah, but I nominated him.
Great. Mike or Samuel, do either of you want to be the?
Well, yeah, you can put me down for now, and we'll see if we get somebody else that wants to do it. One of the other maintainers.
Yeah, my hope is this one will be a relatively straightforward. Just like take what we've done with container checkpointing, move it to pod, so it's a little more cube native, and then the rest of the other stuff will sort of work through elsewhere. Okay, great. So we have 8 minutes. I don't know if we're going to make it, but we'll try. Now we're out of the alphas, so now other people can be delegated if we don't think that there's going to be too much churn. I don't know. So this one, extended resources, I do know that we want to push this forward. I heard of, I'm not totally sure we have a cap up yet, but yes, we do.
I think the kept merged. They just didn't get the full testing, or sorry, they didn't get the full implementation on that 35.
Okay, yeah, so it should be relatively straightforward to get the kept pieces. I guess, Mernal, do you want to remain the resident DRA person for the beta ones, or do you want to delegate that to someone?
Yeah, I think for some of them I can stay on because with DRA.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you want? How about these next two?
Sure. Yeah. Auto stable, I know. There's probably a chance it'll go to beta.
Yeah, tangent tolerations may expand the scope to better support unhealthy devices, so that may be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sergey, feel free to add yourself as reviewer. So always happy to have backup on the caps.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can put me on tolerations and tolerations.
Great. Thank you. I can try to do, I want partitional devices to make it through. I don't have a lot of the DRA experience, but I'm happy to sort of help where I can. Okay. And device health status, more DRA.
Yeah, it goes forward. I don't know who, do we want to keep, I started this cap, so I don't know if it's okay for me to be an approver here, but I don't drive it any longer. So.
If you're not driving it anymore, I think it's fine if you take, I think more people are approving the better, or reviewing, Oh, and if you want, sorry, you're advocating to be the delegated approver as well?
Yeah.
I think that's fine, personally.
Yep, sounds good.
In place VPA pod level resources.
I delegated to Timo Clare.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
sounds good. CRI stats. This one just slipped beta last release, so I think it'll be fairly straightforward to get to beta this time. And I'm having
big bad requirement to do performance testing. I don't know how much of it we did already.
But I think now that we actually have the implementation in the CRIs, and we have all the stats, I think we actually have enough we have the space to do that testing. And I have a team member who's planning on doing that on the cryo side. And so I think
sounds good. Do you want to keep
I think I'm in a similar place as you, Sergey, where like I'm actually not the one developing this anymore, but I have been. So I don't know if it's fully appropriate if I'm an approver, but I will be reviewing it. But I think the KEP parts will be fairly straightforward. Restart all containers. I don't know if this is changing all that much, but if it's straightforward, then maybe.
Straightforward going to beta.
Mm-hmm.
Don wanted to look at APIs again. Do you want to be approver for that? It's a containers.
Start container. I did ask to look at the API again. Okay, but okay, yeah, I can be the approver.
Yeah.
You can also delegate later.
I can delegate it to the Sergey. This one perfect for Sergey. But you can keep me here, for now.
Sounds good. Condition for sandbox creation. I think that this one also just slipped code, but the KEP itself is going to be straightforward update. So I don't see one yet.
Yeah, my only question, do we want to include DRA in scope now? Because DRA was not there when we started this KEP, and now DRA is around. So
right.
I don't know if DRA is included into creation, like sandbox creation completed or not.
Do you want to do a review and see if it makes sense to?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And last release, we found some bug in this logic, so that's why we postponed the GA.
Mm-hmm. PSI on C group V2. Are we doing it? I thought we actually were doing another stable on this, but I might have clerically gotten the wrong thing. Oh, it's beta again. Okay. Oh no, I tried.
Continue to GA.
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm happy to take a look at this one.
Yeah, then you have the approver.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, 2 minutes on the clock. No declared features. I think.
Could we delegate to team?
Yeah, Tim is currently reviewing this.
Perfect.
Okay, delegate.
Sorry, Peter, you skipped over volume source. That one's also another one that I think is the wrong stage.
Yeah, it's already merged. Yeah.
Great point. Yes, and I think So I would also be happy to review this stable graduation. Good catch, Kevin. Thank you. What would we say is the priority on no declared features? Would that be?
I think medium at least, maybe high, because many features already taking dependency on this.
Yeah, there are 3 other alpha features that are using this, so I think it can be high.
Yeah, that sounds good. Kubelet and user namespace. I think that this one, it had the KEP update, but just missed the code. So, but I don't know if we've ever really treated the cell that high priority. Someone wants to take a look. I guess we can see. Okay, that was all the beta ones. We're at time. Maybe we can delegate these stable ones offline, or maybe next week if we need to. And sorry to the folks who had additional items. We'll try to get to them next week. We just had to do this time. All right. Thank you everyone for joining.
Bye.
Yeah.